Rivian shares sinking today. You can see the stock off just around 7% after voluntarily recalling more than 12,000 vehicles over concerns of a possible steering and suspension hazard. Yahoo Finance's senior autos reporter Pras Subramanian is here with more on this. Pras, looking at the stock reaction, Wall Street obviously very concerned about this recall. What's your take on it?
It's just not a good look right now when they have this critical Q4 coming up. They got to meet these deliveries to hit that goal of 25,000 cars a year. You know, it's a simple issue, right? It's tightening a bolt on an arm in front of the steering knuckle. But if it fails, it's a catastrophic steering failure, right? So they have to do this. Safety is the utmost concern. It's good they're doing this now, but it's just sort of, you know, as one analyst said, it's a black eye for them, right? As like there's credibility issues already on the table for them, and now you have this on top of their big goal in Q4. So I think it's kind of like, you know, you see the analyst, the chart. It's just a concern there right now for them to perform.
It reads like a bit of an overreaction based on the fact there are no deaths, no real serious accidents, a very small incident number as well. This is a proactive company really getting ahead of it. Want to ask you about Tesla as well. Some massive numbers out of China breaking a record.
Yeah, on the flip side, huge numbers out of China. The Giga Shanghai, 83,000 vehicles delivered. It's their biggest month ever. This after they sort of did these upgrades to that Shanghai facility over the summer. They shut down for a bit, and now they're really pumping out cars there. Tesla in the latest quarter said that they can produce around 750,000 vehicles per year there now. That's their biggest factory. So huge install base there now in Giga Shanghai.
Now, we just got to couch that. There are new lockdowns already underway in China, not where the Tesla factory is yet, but their caseload tripled after the weekend. So new lockdowns in China could eventually impact Tesla as well. Rochelle?
And Pras, stick around because I want to turn now to Ford and GM. We saw UBS analyst Patrick Hummel downgrading both stocks, citing an expected weakened demand thanks to inflationary pressures, as well as some of these supply constraints we continue to hear about. Now, Hummel predicts, quote, that it will take 3 to 6 months for the auto industry to end up in oversupply. So, Pras, what's your reaction to this? It does seem like one step forward, 2 steps back for some of these automakers right now.
It's, you know, it's a little surprising. Given the last 2.5 years, we've seen the supply be the problem for the automakers. They were able to command huge margins, extreme pricing power because of the fact they didn't have enough supply. And now we're talking about demand actually turning down and the supply becoming a problem when you have more cars than that are actually needed for the market, probably by, I think the analysts were saying next year. I thought it was interesting they thought that Ford was actually in a worse place than GM because of their product portfolio and stuff like supply chain. So, but I'm curious what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I just think just in terms of the demand destruction projection part of it, the fact that it's falling apart and falling apart so quickly, I think that caught me a little bit off guard. Yes, we talked about the fact that the economy is weakening. People are going to be pulling back on spending, but I didn't necessarily, I guess, expect it to be to that degree so quickly. So that's something that jumped out to me. And then also just in terms of what he does like, UBS saying that they favor automakers with a luxury exposure, one of them being Mercedes, just given the fact that more the higher end consumer could potentially be more resilient if we do see a larger economic downturn.
It is shocking, the U-turn. It was just a couple of weeks ago that Ford told us 45,000 cars did not have the parts and they'd have to park them and now we're talking about, again, oversupply in the next 3 to 6 months. It is hard to imagine us going into a world where that is the situation. Dealers across the country, as you know, Pras, are wiped out. They are still empty. So dramatic turnaround like that, I can't quite imagine. But apparently they're seeing it. We've seen it only in the used car sector. CarMax got hit hard at earnings. The new car segment, we haven't seen demand destruction yet.
Because there hasn't been supply. But really interesting point about the luxury demand side, because we write a lot about that, how it's insatiable demand on Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Mercedes, those types of names. They can't find enough buyers. They can't find enough cars for their buyers. And on the flip side, Ford and GM potentially, this analyst thinks that there's a problem for them because these buyers are less able to weather the storm of a potential downturn.
But I guess to me it's just interesting because coming at a time when we're still talking about the supply chain issues that a lot of these larger automakers make. So how is that going to be corrected so quickly that then would lead to this oversupply when we haven't been able to get a better grasp of this now for over 2 years?
I really can't see this being a problem until the back half of next year, if you really think about it. I think that's what the analyst is kind of saying, but he's kind of, putting his mark on the table right now. Like Ford, he said, Ford, we see absolute downside for Ford. That's a direct quote. I mean, that's crazy.
Right now they have very, very strong pricing power. I don't know, maybe UBS will have the last lap on this one. It certainly looks like Wall Street's worried about the downgrade here with Ford shares sinking today. All right, Pras, thanks so much for that.